on time.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 20th meeting of the Town Board, regular meeting and a workshop. So please join me while we pledge allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we have kind of a short meeting tonight, I think. The first item on the workshop agenda was actually, we are not quite ready for that, so we're going to need a motion, I suppose, to remove that from the agenda.
Motion to remove it?
Second. And all in favor?
Aye.
And Tad Moss will be coming on the May 4th to give the MS4 update, as well as a department update for the zoning and planning office. So it just seemed to make sense to have her come only out on one night as opposed to two. So we have with us tonight our town historian, Carol Cohan, and she provided a historian's report for us a bit of time ago, and I invited her to come because I just know she's been busy and doing a lot of things, and I just look forward to her update.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I am here this evening to officially present to you the Historian's Annual Report for 2014 and request that it be entered into the town's permanent records. And it is rather lengthy, so I won't be going over everything, but I just wanted to give you some updates on some of the projects I've been working on and let you know about some upcoming events. So last year, we received a Heritage Development Grant from the Hudson River Valley National Heritage Area to produce a brochure for the historic walking tour in town. And this self-guided tour focuses on about a dozen properties in the core of the Hyde Park Hamlet, historic Hyde Park Hamlet, centered at the crossroads of Market Street and Albany Post Road, from Vanderbilt Mansion south to Albertson Street. And this includes architecturally and historically significant properties that are listed on the National Historic Register, such as the U.S. Post Office, the Hyde Park Free Library, the Main Street, Park Place, Albertson Street Historic District, Reformed Dutch Church, St. James Chapel, Hyde Park Railroad Station, and some other sites, including the Stoutenburg Cemetery, which is of local significance. So it's being printed now, and we will have a celebration for its release during National Tourism Week. This will be May 7th, Thursday, 10 o'clock in the morning here at Town Hall. At the same time, we'll be going live with the accompanying website. And weather permitting, I'll lead a brief tour of some of the properties, if it's not like today. The brochure will be available at various places in town, Town Hall, some other places, and will be downloadable from the website. And I believe Steve Hughes is away, but I just wanted to give him a shout out for doing a great job with the website, and I think you'll be really impressed with that. So, as well as the brochure, I hope.
I'm sure we will. I just want to say how beautiful it is and we appreciate it.
Okay, so looking forward to that. So anyway, so this celebration is open to the public, so we hope whoever can will come and see this.
So we'll meet at Town Hall at 10, and then we'll take our walking tour, and there'll be a couple other things going on that day.
Yeah, we're going to have we'll show a demonstration of the website so people can see that, and maybe some surprises, who knows. I also wanted to mention the Dutchess County's new passport program, and that will be launched about the same time. And that was it was developed by Dutchess County Tourism and the Dutchess County Historian, and it gives a description of the historic towns and villages throughout the county, 30 of them. And actually, here is the passport. So they did a nice job on that, and the idea is to pick this up at the town clerk or village clerk's office, and they have a stamp, and they will stamp it, and then you travel to the other 29 towns and see their historic resources, get your passport stamped. So Donna will be handling that for us here at Town Hall. Because the hours are limited, we're also going to have a stamp available at the Hyde Park Free Library, so evenings and weekends when they're open, they'll be able to get it stamped there too. It's a very limited printing, but it is downloadable also from the Dutchess County Tourism website, so people can find it there. Anyway, I think it's an interesting idea. I hope that people will, you know, do it and explore it. I'm actually hoping to see a lot of these towns I haven't been to,
Yeah.
so I think that's an interesting project. Last year, I submitted a grant application to the William G. Pomeroy Foundation on behalf of the Hyde Park Historical Society for a historical roadside marker to commemorate the site of the East Park Observation Post of the Aircraft Warning Service, which was in operation during World War II. And we received the grant, and we waited about 6 months for the sign to be made, and it finally arrived a couple weeks ago. And it is at the Highway Department, awaiting installation, and Patsy Costello and Walt you know, are determining where to place that, and then it's going to be on the Rhinebeck Savings Bank property, which is not the site. It's across and a little bit south of the site, but this will give greater visibility and accessibility for folks. And Patsy's also working on a booklet to accompany that, and an unveiling ceremony, which at this point looks like it will be Saturday, June 6th, about 10 or 10:30 in the morning. And we're particularly looking for anyone who might have been an airplane spotter during the war in 1942 to 44, or anyone who had one in the family. You know, everyone will be invited to this, but you know, we'd love to see some of the original spotters. Would be great. I think one has contacted Patsy, so
Good.
so that's coming up. And then finally, I'll be representing the town of Hyde Park and the town of Hyde Park Historical Society at the first Hudson Valley Heritage Fair, which will be held at Locust Grove on Sunday, May 17th from 11 to 3:30. And this is a joint project of the Path Through History, the Hudson River Valley National Heritage Area, and the New York State Parks. Their first effort, and if it's successful, they'll do this annually. And it's free, and the idea is to have historical organizations there from Dutchess and Ulster counties to Rockland and Westchester, regional organizations, so that the folks can come and see what resources are, the historical resources in our community, you know, basically at one stop, and then decide where they might want to go. So the theme this year is Hands-on History, and I will be there and hopefully be handing out our brochures and talking about Hyde Park. So
Nice. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Yeah, Carol, really, thank you so much for your contribution. It's really been a pleasure to work with you. You get things done. It's very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot.
It's an amazing amount of volunteers.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Okay,
Thanks,
so
Carol.
we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Looking forward to May 7th. And, okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
You know, I forgot to mention that we should accept the minutes. So,
Motion to accept the minutes?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that, I'm sorry, the May 7th, is that during the day or in the evening? Or
That's
yeah?
at 10 a.m.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
Friday, and,
It is Friday.
yep, and we'll have some
I can make
refreshments at Town Hall and commence the walking tour. And really, the brochures are really pretty, and I love the motif that Carol has developed. It's a graphic of the post office, and it's really cool.
Nice.
So I'm really happy about that. Okay, so, you know, I just thought we would take this opportunity to, being it's a rather quiet meeting, to just give some updates on the things we've been working on. And Ken, would you like to start, being as,
Sure,
you know, all the way
absolutely.
down at that end?
Yeah, I'm all rolling down here
Yeah.
tonight. Recently, I've been over at Hackett Hill, walking the disc golf course. I've been cleaning up over there from the fall and the winter. A lot of the trees and stuff have fallen down, so I was over there with my wife and my puppy the other day, cleaning that up. Met with Aileen, the supervisor, with the labor unions, and negotiated their contracts. Also met with the recreation commissions, and actually I spoke with all four of them today. I left messages with some, but met with the rec commission. Did several ribbon cutting ceremonies. One was with Senator Sue Serino and Chris Gibson here in Hyde Park.
several after hours at, with the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. One was at Rondout Savings Bank, and the other one was at Capola's, which were very well attended. And it's very informative. It's a nice, relaxing evening where you can go and talk with the business owners, and it's actually an enjoyable time that I enjoy going to those. We do have several things coming up on the recreation side, just for public knowledge. We do have the fishing derby coming up Saturday the 25th over at Greenfields. That'll be from 9 to 1. The DEC will be there giving away, not giving away, but they'll be offering free rods and reels and bait to go fishing. We'll be stocking the pond with some nice trout. And you do not need to have a fishing license that day, so that's going to be an exciting day. Again, that's Saturday the 25th from 9 to 1 at Greenfields. I also want to remind people about the townwide tag sale, which will be Saturday, May 16th from 9 to 4. If you'd like to be put on to our website here in Town Hall and in Northern Dutchess News, it costs $10 to get your ad placed. And you'll be on our website, like I said, in Northern Dutchess News. Checks can be made out to Hyde Park Recreation and addressed to 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York. And the last day to register will be May 4th for that.
And what is the date?
That will be May 16th.
May 16th.
May 16th. And the
Okay.
Fishing Derby is Saturday the 25th.
Excellent. When is our Memorial Day parade this year? Is that the
That would be that Monday.
22nd? September?
Yes.
It is early this year.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yep, Monday the 22nd?
Yes, Monday the 22nd.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Dave, would you like to go, or you want
Sure.
to? Okay.
Okay, sure, go ahead. Let's see, I don't know where to start. We had an issue over, and we still have an issue going on over Yates Avenue with water being discharged into the street. We're trying to get a hold of the owner so we can correct that situation. It's been ongoing, and there was a lot of trouble this winter due to the cold weather. It was freezing, and then Walt would have to sand it or salt it and then plow it and come back, every day almost. So it's been very difficult getting a hold of them. The police have been cooperative. Pete Sotero, our town engineer, has gone with me too. So we're all getting a little piece of it. Our town attorney is actively trying to track it down. It's really a problem for people over there. So hopefully we'll get that soon. I belong to the Hyde Park Historical Society. I'm also the liaison for the town board to the Historical Society. So we had a meeting with Lieutenant Benson and Chief Pale Lily, a representative from the Hyde Park Visual Environment Committee, and myself representing the town and the Historical Society. A lot of times there's accidents and they hit the stone walls and we don't get any money for it. It's property damage, and there's ways to get money because most people on their car insurance have property damage. So even though we don't own the stone walls, we're hoping to get some reimbursement because sometimes we have to have Adams come and the Visual Environment Committee will pay for it. So this way, we did get one. Mr. DeLorme was helpful in getting one. So we're going to work with him, with the Hyde Park Visual Environment Committee and the Hyde Park Historical Society. And the police are going to notify us with an accident report, which will be helpful. Aircraft warning service plaque, Carol just mentioned that. And no, Ken, I wasn't a spotter. I'm not quite that old. I do remember the little building, though. It was up, I don't know, in the 50s they took it down, I guess. Another project that I've been asked to look into is in addition to the memorial plaque or some sort of plaque for servicemen who served during any war the country was involved in. It's mostly, we got everybody, I guess, in Korean War. Well, not everybody, but the Vietnam forward. There's some people missing. They contacted the Historical Society and were concerned that they weren't on the list. This is a very expensive project. I was talking to Mike Athanas, and he gave me a price to engrave, one name would be like $250. The town certainly can't afford all that, because it could be quite a few names. We've got a committee where we're looking into making sure it's complete. The government has a website where you can go on, I have at home, and you can start looking up. So we have a committee working on that. I called Tivoli, I called Robin Bruno, who's a trustee up in Tivoli, and she was working with the veterans up there to put memorial benches in. I just wanted to know how she went about it, and she said, well, it was really a town-wide thing. They would have certain events and raise money, a barbecue, and Kenny and Emily mentioned the last meeting, it'd be nice if we could hold a can out, you know, at the music in the parks, which we can't do on the National Park Service ground, I understand, but maybe we could possibly, you know, who knows? But it's a nice thing. It just, even inside it could be listed, something we can get done, just to recognize all those men and women who served during war. We can't put everybody on there. It'd be too long.
Dave, I just had if you don't mind, I have a question. For servicemen that have served and belong on the memorial, how was that done prior? Do we know?
I really don't.
I believe that it was an initiative of Barbara Potter, and she was a town board member from Ward 4, your
Yeah.
ward, a number of years ago, and I believe it was, you know, her brainchild and her baby, and somehow she did it. I don't know. Do you know any details on it, Donna?
We have a minimal amount of paperwork in the office, and I believe everybody sent their name in, and there is a list that...
And the funds came from where? I mean, was that done by the town, or was that raised?
I don't
Through
believe it
the-
says there.
Huh.
So there's all different plaques out there, you know, they go
Yeah.
back to the Revolutionary Wars.
Right.
So, yeah, it would be nice to make sure that when we do it, we have the complete list, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's very important. We don't want to go through it again, you know.
Yeah.
And we don't want to slight anybody by leaving them off.
I wonder if Dutchess County American Legion, the Dutchess County Services would have any information on that.
They might, I'll call him, and I was also going to call Congressman Gibson, you know,
Yes.
see if he could help, 'cause was in the service, so.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Um,
Thank you. Sorry.
And, you know, we're just making calls around to make sure, it's not going to happen overnight, that's
Oh,
for sure.
sure.
It's going to be a process, so we'll get it started, hopefully, so. So, Veterans Memorial, High Park Trails. I walked on the trail in the village here. We have the Winnicke Land Trust has a beautiful little trail right
Yeah.
here, and it's right in the village. People don't even know about it. So I walked in there and cleaned up some junk that was there, but it was in pretty good shape.
Yeah,
A
beautiful.
lot of trees were down, so I encourage people to walk on that one. They don't even know it's there. It's right behind the
High Park.
High Park Florist, and then there's two entrances, actually. There's one on Twilliger Road Extension, yeah. And there's a parking area there in both places. It's really cool. Media Committee, I'm also on that, and this has been an ongoing thing with the temperature down in the broadcast booth. They're down below us. And right now, we have a fan with a gate on it, so it can move the air around to lower the temperature somewhat, but it's still not doing it. And I think air conditioning is the way to go. Steve is away, so we're going to wait till he comes back. But we got to get moving on it, because the people downstairs who work there, the fan is not only noisy, it blows dust up, and it's a nuisance to them. So they can't be working in conditions that, you know, it's constantly dust flowing around. I experience it myself, but I'm not there 8 hours either. So I think air conditioning is the way, and before we get Pete involved again, wait till Steve gets back and then make a decision, hopefully. Because TC had some funds that,
Well, I think that it needs to be addressed where the air conditioning is going, and I'm sure Herb and Barbara are thinking about that right now,
Right.
right downstairs.
Yes.
But it's a complicated issue just because it's a very small space, and they have concerns about noise and location. So I think that you'll need to make sure that when you do meet, that they are there as well as Pete.
oh, absolutely. Oh, yes, I meant the committee, though.
Sure.
Not
Yep,
just wait for Steve.
sure. Okay, great.
Yeah. So, property maintenance issues, I have several of them, can't list them all, but it's that time of year, it's springtime, everybody's, you know, you see the junk in the yards, the snow is gone, and some places are really a mess, and rather than bring, you know, I go to the people and ask them, is there anything we can do, you know, sometimes I get results, sometimes I don't. It's a tough issue, you know, it's people's homes, and sometimes they can't clean it up, sometimes they can, but when you got 5 or 6 cars there, you know, I don't know. It just bugs me when I see a small piece of land with like 6 cars. They're all registered, but it's in a residential area, and it just doesn't look right. Town code allows it, I guess.
If they're registered, yep.
Yep. You know, So that's the biggest complaint is cars. They're not, the junk cars are easy because,
And they're unregistered,
Yeah.
and there's a medium for TAD to issue notices of violation.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. That about does it, I guess.
Okay, Emily.
All right. I don't want to repeat things that you might
No,
say,
you go
but
ahead.
okay.
Yeah, no, go right
There's a
ahead.
lot of things I've been working
We
on
work
with you,
together, yeah.
obviously. So a few things, we've been trying to get some of the new grants moving that we've recently received. One is the sidewalk project at Farm Lane that we received a CDBG grant for, and we're working on coming up with a final design for that so that it can go out to bid and then be constructed this construction season. So that's going to be behind the stone wall across from Stop and Shop, connecting Farm Lane to the Stop and Shop Plaza. We also are working on the grant that we received from NYSERDA for the pre-development studies for the Pine Woods area. It's a complicated grant, and we sat down with Dutchess County Planning and Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority and put our heads together on how best to use those funds to really put the pieces in place that are needed to make that area more easy to redevelop, which will include a sewer study, some design of pedestrian improvements, and a zoning update. The pieces that will enable a private developer to come in and more easily build in that part of town when the property owners are ready for that to happen. And then the other grant that we're starting to move forward is the TAP project, that large sidewalk project that will be built. And that's an actual construction grant to build a sidewalk from the, basically from just north of the drive-in to connect that sidewalk all the way up to the CVS Williams Lumber Plaza. That isn't going to get built till probably 2017. It'll take that long to get all the permissions from the DOT and all the agencies involved. So nothing happens quickly in state government, but we're going to start that one moving. And then meanwhile, we're always on the lookout for other potential funding sources. Aileen and I met with the Hudson Valley Regional Council to learn more about federal economic development funding. That was a former colleague of mine that came here to Hyde Park and met with us and told us about the programs that they have available to try to get federal infrastructure funding. Right now, I'm working with Pete and Aileen on updating the town's listing on the Environmental Facilities Corporation intended use plan, which is basically the big list that the state maintains of all water and wastewater needs in the state. And they have a revolving loan program, but occasionally money comes through that program for actual grants, not just loans. So we want to make sure that our listing is as up to date as possible for what we would need to eventually, if funding were available, to construct a commercial sewer district in Hyde Park. As far as on the flood control side of things, I've been working with TAD on, and Pete on the hazard mitigation program. The county is doing a hazard mitigation plan countywide, and Hyde Park is going to participate, and that will enable us to access in the future hazard mitigation funding from FEMA. I also went to a meeting about the Hudson Valley Comprehensive Restoration Plan, and we'll make sure that our projects are listed on that plan too, because the more plans your projects are listed in, the more luck you might have in getting some money someday. Let's see. Also, as the deputy supervisor, I occasionally get to sit in on meetings when the supervisor's schedule conflicts. I got to meet with some chefs who are considering opening a restaurant in Hyde Park from the Culinary Institute and help them identify some potential locations that might work for them. I met with the folks who are trying to or planning to turn the former PDQ building into a self-storage facility, which would be a nice use for that property, bring in some tax revenue. I'm also the liaison to the Highway Department, and I've been meeting with Walt periodically and kind of serving as a liaison between him and the Comptroller's Office. We have some trucks that we have been replacing trucks, but trucks are constantly needing replacement because that's the nature of trucks. The truck that's used for patching is in pretty bad shape and may need to be replaced. The good news is that each year we get CHIPS funding in from the state, which is the state money for local road projects. And this year, as last year, there was extra money allocated for the bad winter. So the state put some extra money into that CHIPS pot this year. And so we'll be getting enough funding. The roads that Walt has identified are to repave parts of green fields and also to include Kari Boulevard this year, or Kari Drive? Boulevard. Which we weren't expecting, so that's nice to have enough money to do that as well. And we're also looking at purchasing a planer, which can be used behind the Bobcat that we recently got through a grant. And the planer will enable the highway crew to repair frost heaves with our staff. And they also have a few drainage projects lined up, and we're trying to make sure there's enough money available for that. Let's see. A few things within Ward 1. The East Market Street sidewalk that we built last year is looking great, and every time I drive by, there are families walking on it, which is really nice to see. There was a spot where it was sort of undermined by a water main break, and Aileen reached out to Water and Wastewater, and they've got that fixed up, so that's great to see that sidewalk working well. As we've been talking about recently, we've been trying to solve the issue of the Green Tree Corner, and we are pretty close to a solution. I won't rehash that now because I think we've covered it, but just to make sure folks know that that site has been remediated, the contamination has all been removed from the site, and the problem is that because the contamination was removed, there's a large lien on the property, which prevents anyone from purchasing it. So what we're looking to do is make an arrangement where the lien will be forgiven, the taxes will be forgiven, and the land will be made into a pleasant green space for the entrance to the neighborhood. This is the time of year when I'm sure we all get calls about roads because, all the potholes show up in the springtime. And, it's tough because we have enough money to only pave small amounts of roads each year, so it's really a patching process. And the winter patches are temporary patches; they don't really last. And then the crews are coming around now to put the more firm patches on. So they're patching the roads up, and you can call the highway department if you have a road that needs attention. In Statsburg, I heard again from residents about there's a desire to be able to cross into the Mills Norrie State Park from the hamlet, which has been closed for a while, and I've contacted State Parks, but I will contact them again about that, because I know that's important to the residents of Statsburg. Also, I understand that there won't be a traditional Spirit Day this year, but they're organizing another type of celebration for June in Statsburg, and the town police will be happy to help block off the road for that event. And I also just wanted to just briefly mention that there's been some concern about the Mills Mansion. I was contacted by someone from State Parks to just kind of give folks a heads up that they are considering ways that they can maybe make some more revenue within the park. It's very hard for them to keep parks open for free, and so they need to look for ways to raise revenue to offset their expenses. And one thing they're looking at is possibly putting some type of food service within the Mills Mansion, which I know that there are mixed feelings out there in the community about that. I just want to let people know that the most efficient thing, if they have thoughts on that, is to contact their state representatives directly, State Senator Serino or Assemblymember Barrett. They're the ones that, it's a state park, and those are the state representatives. The town really has no role. I mean, they don't even have to comply with our zoning or anything. It's really purely a state decision. So the most efficient thing, if people have concerns, is to contact Senator Serino or Assemblymember Barrett directly. And that's what I've got.
Wow, great.
Good.
Thanks, Sam. Okay, I won't rehash a lot of the things that everyone has said, but I'll just kind of give perhaps more of a broader perspective. But, you know, of course, it was as we all know, a very difficult winter. Again, road salt is one of our biggest expenses. I think it was about $300,000 for the 4-month period of 2015. So again, we joined in the shared service agreement grant, and we are anticipating that those devices will finally be put on the highway trucks in May, and that's required some follow-up because there's some difficulty with the installer, but we're very hopeful that that should be finalized this coming May. Again, Emily reviewed the grants for DOT and the Cleaner Greener Community Grant, and we're working to bring those to fruition. And a grant is a process. It should really be a verb. It's not. It's really very time consuming, and but we are hopefully getting there. Again, we've kind of been beating the bush looking for the grant match. I've been to a number of different sources asking for monies to provide the local match. We do have part of the match from a grant that we obtained through Terry Gibson when he was senator, and we are looking still for other sources. And so we continue to discuss that in dialogue with the DOT and the NYSERDA. So Emily touched on the other sidewalks and Green Tree. These are all very time-consuming issues. One of the things that I have been working on is the deferred maintenance issue at Hackett House. If people recall this saga, it's really become quite a saga, but we did receive a, Kathleen Davis wrote a grant, well, you know, she's a town employee, for money, to receive monies through the Colleen Hackett Charitable Trust to defray the cost of maintaining that exterior. And you know, the original bids that we received were very high, and we then explored a number of other options, perhaps having a nonprofit do the work, which we followed that down a path for quite some time, and then realized that they weren't actually going to cost us any less than if we were to put it out to bid. So then we decided to explore the option of putting siding and windows on the building, because it seemed like a more practical choice and something that would assure that the building would be maintained into the future. And we put that out to bid. You'll see on the agenda is a resolution to reject those bids. And really, they came back fairly high. It was around, I think, 100,000 for one and 180 for the other, and both of those were definitely on the high side, and we would have been required to take the difference between the grant and the total renovation cost from the rec trust fund. And through dialogue with the town historian and the rec commissioners, we decided to defer to their recommendation, which is to have the property painted rather than the more permanent solution of siding and windows. Part of that we were able to do because we were hired a temporary helper who is doing the carpentry work, and he's doing that in-house, so that really substantially brought the price down. And so we're moving ahead on that. It should be done, begun the 1st of June and be completed by June 30th. We also have been doing some work in Town Hall, and both the meeting room and the conference room were painted and refurbished, so we were happy about that. We're still working on the Municity grant. I've had a number of meetings with the other 12 towns that are participating. I've also received some training from the software providers so that I can access the information and be able to put together various reports on the status of our on many aspects of our assessments and various other building and zoning permits. And so I think that's going to really be a great tool to expedite the processing of building and planning permits, as well as expediting the process of property maintenance violations, and basically increasing the efficiency and information sharing of the town hall. Finally, another grant is this local government efficiency grant to consolidate our water and sewer districts, and that involved, you forgot to mention that, Ken, you were, because you were in there, but you should have been there, but, and Dave, you know, the majority of the independent districts are in 2, 3, and 4, really 2 and 4. And so we spent a lot of this winter holding public meetings so that we could bring everyone up to speed and prepare them for this eventual transfer. We're happy to say that the county did their part and voted to create the districts. And so we're coming to the conclusion of that grant. Warren, you should be expecting a very large document from Jonathan to review for our, I think in June 7th, maybe June 1st, we anticipate having that on the agenda. So you'll be busy over Memorial Day weekend. Let's see, where else are we? So again, we just wanted to mention that we did live under the tax cap again this year, and I've attended a number of meetings with the county because not only do you have to live under the tax cap, but you have to put together a government efficiency plan. So TC and I will be meeting on Wednesday on that topic, and of course, because it involves New York State, will involve a lot of paperwork that we have to send to them, and we are analyzing various ways to reduce our tax levy by 1% per year for the next 3 years, so that our residents are qualified to receive the rebate on their town taxes. And just so everyone understands how that works, every taxing district, if they comply with the tax cap, they also have to submit this plan, and for each taxing entity that does that, residents will receive a rebate of the difference between what their tax would have been if they exceeded the cap at 1.57% and what their tax levy is this year. So it's not going to be a lot of money from the town. I mean, maybe $10 or something, you know, but you know, we felt it was important to do that, so we have.
Can I just clarify on that, because I know we've had some questions. It's one check that goes out once a year, and it covers whichever of your taxing entities have stayed under. So if your fire district doesn't, but your town and county do, or your school district does, but your town doesn't, however it works out, the check captures whichever amounts are due to you. It's
Right.
not separate checks. And if one doesn't meet the tax
Right.
cap, it doesn't mean you don't get a check at all.
Good.
That's right, and
Yeah.
it's the library districts as well.
Right,
So
yeah.
so your special districts or any of the other taxing entities. So yes, thanks for clarifying that. So again, I just wanted to mention how communication is so important, and we've expanded in the last year or two to put the board meetings on YouTube. We also, of course, have our email notification system that residents can partake in and receive not only notices of meetings, but if there's any special concerns, they also have the minutes of the meetings. And just, you know, some of the things that I do on a pretty regular basis is just constant financial review of contracts, and attending all kinds of meetings, as Emily said, that whether it be the Hudson Valley Regional Council or meetings with the county or the Chamber of Commerce. I attended the March of Dimes and spoke at that event. We hold department head meetings. We negotiate contracts with our labor unions. I met with Senator Gibson, Senator Serino, and Congressman Gibson at their new offices to put in a good word for all our needs in Hyde Park. As Ken mentioned, we attend so many openings like the SPCA or various other new stores or retailer establishments. A lot of time is spent managing personnel, and we hired a couple new employees, which of course require research. It's a pleasure to work with the town historian as she develops new programs, such as the walking tour. We've met with various developers and residents and welcome them, and are happy to give them an overview of what we can offer or what our town offers. I had the pleasure of working with the Meals on Wheels people for a morning, and that's a pretty wonderful program that Hyde Park has for its elderly residents. And I've recently met with Bob Delarme about our beautification efforts. I composed a letter to the Joint Water Board on behalf of Greenbush residents asking for a relief for the water charges that we incur as a customer of the Greenbush district. I have not yet received a response, but am anticipating one. Again, we've asked for a reduced charge because of the water quality. Happy to say that Dave mentioned property maintenance, and I had someone who I give a lot of credit to who called on a very regular basis to make sure that a pernicious fence was removed, and it actually was on East Market Street, and she called to say thank you, and I definitely appreciated that. This coming week, I'll be meeting with the CIA and Dee Dee Barrett, and we're going to have a conversation on ways we can work together and hopefully support the town of Hyde Park. So with that, I think that's the update, and we don't have anybody here for the public comment, so why don't we just move on quickly to the resolutions?
Resolution 421 of 2015, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to extend a consulting agreement with Morris Associates to provide project facilitator services in conjunction with the municipal project extension.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye. Resolution 420-2, 2015, a resolution authorizing the revision of the budget for the municipal project.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
And so, as this explains, the project is very extensive, and we have a 9-month extension. And fortunately, we did have a contingency fee amount in the grant, and that will be paying for the additional services.
So it's still all within the grant?
It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Resolution 420-3 of 2015, a resolution rejecting all bids for vinyl siding and window replacement for Hackett Hill Park House repainting project.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
So I think I just went over that. But I think, did I just zone out? Did we miss Resolution 2? Did I miss that?
Did we vote?
Dave did that.
Did it? Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I did miss that.
Resolution 424 of 2015, resolution authorizing the waiver of building permit fees for rebuilding together Dutchess County projects.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution.
Yeah, I look forward, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
I look forward to stopping by and seeing those projects
Yeah.
underway. That's really great.
There's 2 of
They're-
them
Mhm.
this coming Saturday.
Yeah, yeah. This
Kilmer Avenue.
Saturday morning, I think,
Yeah.
if anyone wants to, well,
Yeah,
any of the board members.
yeah,
I don't think they want the whole public stopping by.
probably not.
Yep.
Resolution 420-5 of 2015, resolution amending the 2015 fee schedule for the town of Hyde Park to remove the requirement that building permit fees are to be paid by certified check or money order.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and,
Just want to say hooray to
Yes.
Aileen for
Yeah.
solving a problem that
well,
was a pretty easy one.
it
as
was. I
problems
wish they
go.
were all this easy to solve. But, I had a business owner reach out to me and say that Hyde Park was the only town that required building permit fees to be paid by certified check. And seemed like an easy thing to be able to do to help expedite the process. So hopefully, everyone will provide only quality checks,
No bouncers.
so that we don't look bad, no.
Resolution 420-6 of 2015, resolution approving alcohol use at Riverfront Park for a private event. This is for a bridal shower.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
So, I'm not sure if most residents realize, because I certainly didn't, that all of our parks are available for rent, and for a nominal fee. And if people plan to use them, they do have to provide an insurance certificate that names the town of Hyde Park
If they're using alcohol?
for alcohol.
Right, for alcohol,
Mhm,
right.
yep.
This one we need I'd like to make a motion to amend the resolution to read 37.5 hours.
I make a motion?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now, Resolution 427 of 2015, resolution authorizing the Justice Court Clerk, Tessa Stokes, to carry over accrued vacation time.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is amended.
It's all already amended, yeah.
Resolution 420-8 of 2015, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute an agreement with Bob Martin's Painting for Hackett House.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And again, that's a contract for $27,925, and he had fantastic references, and I'm sure he's going to do a great job.
And that's going to happen in June?
June 1st to June 30th.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
so
great.
I'm going to be talking with Kathleen about whether any other arrangements need to be made for
Yeah,
Park
do the
reg- for
camps?
camp registration.
Yeah, I'm sure they can work around it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
great.
Okay, great. I don't have any correspondence or new and old business, so may I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion?
And
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
What is this? What are they gonna do?
Okay.
So,
Well,
is a program for
we
people
did
who
have-
repairs
yeah.
to their house, but again,